Hello everyone, and welcome to video one in the regression modeling project. Um, as you've noticed from some of my previous videos, I have a lot of items in my contents that you will not have when you start, obviously. This is purely for making the videos as short as possible so you don't have to sit and run through all of the tools with me. So just point that out first. To find your data, hopefully you should be good at this point, but Living Atlas, search for Health County, and you want the 2025 County Health Rankings 2025 layer. And when you import that layer, it looks like this. It is, nope. There. It looks like this. It is actually three layers joined together. And you only need the county version. You don't need the state or the nation. So make sure to go ahead and right click and export features. I called my version of the layer Health 2025 example. So that is what this map is showing right here. And it's currently showing the percentage of adults that report fair or poor health. So that is not my variable. My variable is the percentage of adults who experience more than 14 mentally unwell days. Once I have my data in and I've saved my project, the first step is really to just open this attribute table and then right click on any one of these headings and go to fields and just sort of explore the data. So there is a lot. And you'll notice that I have a couple of checkboxes here. So I kept the FIPS code, the state abbreviation, and the county name. And then I went through and found the variables I am looking for. So you'll see a couple checkboxes there. You need to have 10 variables. If you want to have a few more than that, that's fine. My example actually has 13. I don't recommend having many more than that. I tried one ridiculous example where I had like 30 just to see what would happen, and as you can guess, it didn't go well. So don't do that. So here are the 13 variables I started this project with. And you also have access to this table in your document so that you can just delete my examples and type your own in. Now, one thing you'll notice is that you need the field name, the field alias. So in the fields view of your table, there is your field name and your field alias. We're going to want to save these fields. So my save button is unchecked because I haven't made any changes, but if I just click one, and even if I turn it off again, then I'm going to press save. And what that will do is you will only see the fields that you have checked. So you will go from there's over 100 to the my 13. At this point, you want to check the data engineering on this layer because you want to check for null values before you make this your permanent layer. So we're just going to right click on this layer and we're going to go to data engineering. And you're going to have an empty box that just says add all and calculate. Go ahead and press that. And then when you add all of your fields in, we want to pay attention to a couple of things. First thing is this null category. We have 171 nulls here. That is more than 100, so that variable is going to have to go. We have 10 here. That's perfectly fine. We have 1900 here. That one definitely has to go. And then we have 166, so that one has to go. The rest of them are all zeros. So most of these attributes have a value for each record. They don't have nulls. The other thing you want to note is whether you have a normalized distribution on your data. And some of these are not. This one is a really good example of a nice normal distribution, as is this one. That is because these are averages and percentages. If you had a total count, you would have a very, very different graph. It would most likely look something like that. Um, and in that case, your data is not going to work the way you want it to. So please go refill or review the normalization document attached and make sure that you are choosing fields that are normalized, such as percentages and averages. And most fields are normalized in that table in one form or another. You might find the total count, and then you might find the percentage. So if you have any questions, just post in the troubleshooting and let me know. But again, you need to make sure all of your fields are normalized. So they say average or per 1,000 or percentage or whatever it is they say. Okay, so once you have those chosen, you're going to go back to your attribute table and you just need to uncheck the ones that aren't passing your 100 or less null. So you go back to fields, and in this case, I would have to uncheck my mental health providers and my physical health providers. And I had one other one of teenagers. So I'd have to uncheck this mental health providers. I'd have to uncheck all those are good. That one's good. Right here, I have to uncheck this percentage of teens and adults. That's the one that had over 1,000 nulls. And then the other one is this primary care physician. So once I uncheck those and I save, I can export this layer. So I'm just going to right click, go to data, export features, and I'm going to call this example variables. And that is how I ended up with this all pink layer right here. And if I check my data engineering on this layer, I will see that the most nulls I have are 10. So these are the variables that are good. What you want to do before you move on is make sure you're filling out your variable table. So if you look at this one, primary care physicians failed due to nulls, mental health providers failed due to nulls, and then percentage of teens failed due to nulls. So those are gone at this point, and I'm now down to 10 variables. That's why I had you start with at least 10 to start, because they go away pretty quickly. Okay, so all of these are normalized, all of these pass nulls, and they are ready to run your first report. So this was not in the tutorial, so I'm going to show you how to do it, but it's very, very simple report. You just go to geoprocessing, and it is called exploratory regression. So it says it evaluates all possible combinations of inputs using that ordinary least squares model. That's the linear regression model we're using to start this project. So double click. Your input feature is then going to be the one called example variable. Your dependent variable is whatever you were assigned. So in my case, that's the 14 days of poor mental health. And then I just click select all, and then make sure to uncheck your dependent variable or it's going to get real mad at you. And then also make sure to uncheck anything like shape length, shape area, or anything else, object ID, things that came along for the ride. You don't have to fill any of this out. You just press run, and then you will get a report. So here is my exploratory regression report. And under messages, it tells me a couple of things. First thing, it says that there are only 10 records that can't be read, so that's good. And then what I want to look at is my, right here, summary of variable significance. So this tells you how important these variables were, and they're actually pretty high. 100 to 63 isn't bad. The second thing I want to look at is the summary of multicollinearity. So basically, if two variables are really looking at the same thing, remember the example of square feet above and below in the home tutorial, then they're going to come up multicollinear. But in this case, all of them appear to be okay or different enough on their own. The variable inflation factor is less than 7, and there's no list under the covariates. You may get some that are multicollinear, and that will show up here. In which case, you would then look at the summary of variable significance table, and whichever one has the lower value is the one you will remove from your model. All right, so that's really just video 1. I now have a list of variables that I'm ready to test. So these are going to fail later on, but I have everything except for these 3 here that will continue on into